Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the life you're living right now is not a reflection of your potential? It's a reflection of your focus. Every dream, every failure, every success is born from where you place your attention. You're not lacking time, you're leaking energy. And the moment you learn to control your focus, everything around you begins to multiply. Your peace, your power, your purpose. Stay with me, because today you'll discover the hidden power of your attention and how it can completely rewrite your reality. Focus is the silent architect of every great life. It's that invisible force that shapes your future while no one is watching. Most people underestimate it, treating it like a small thing, when in reality it's the very foundation on which your destiny stands. Your attention is your power. Whatever you give it to expands, multiplies, and eventually becomes your reality. If you focus on problems, they grow roots. If you focus on possibilities, they grow wings. The hidden power of attention lies in the simple truth that energy flows where attention goes. What you nurture in your mind, you eventually live in your life. Think about it. The most successful people you admire are not the ones who have everything handed to them. They are the ones who learned the art of direction, who decided where their attention would go and guarded it fiercely. Because your attention is currency. Every time you scroll mindlessly, every time you dwell on fear or comparison, you are spending your life's wealth on something that gives you nothing in return. But when you focus, deeply, intentionally, unapologetically, you begin to build momentum. You start turning invisible effort into visible transformation. The world around you is noisy. Everyone wants your attention. Every notification, every advertisement, every headline is a silent thief, stealing a second, a thought, a dream. But the truth is, you decide what gets to stay in your mind. You are the gatekeeper of your mental garden. If you allow distractions to take root, they'll choke your growth. But if you plant focus, discipline, and clarity, your mind becomes fertile ground for miracles. You cannot live an extraordinary life with ordinary focus. You cannot expect exponential growth with divided attention. Greatness doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. There's something magnetic about a person who knows what they want. Their energy changes a room. Their presence commands respect. Because focus gives you power, not just over your goals, but over yourself. When you decide that your energy will not be wasted on negativity, on gossip, on temporary pleasure, you reclaim your strength. You become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get sharper. The moment you stop chasing everything and start choosing what truly matters, your life begins to multiply. Your results multiply. Your confidence multiplies. Your peace multiplies. Most people think they lack time, but what they truly lack is direction. We all have 24 hours, but how we use them defines the quality of our lives. You can't complain about lack of progress when your focus is scattered across things that don't serve your vision. Imagine what would happen if you gave just one goal, one dream, your full undivided attention for a year. Imagine how far you'd go. Focus turns effort into excellence. It transforms average into exceptional. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it better. Sometimes life tests your focus. It throws distractions in your path, doubts in your mind, delays in your journey. But these are not barriers. They are mirrors, showing you how committed you really are. Do you give up when things get uncomfortable, or do you stay locked in on your purpose? Because the truth is, the universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to concentrated energy. When your attention is steady, the world rearranges itself in your favor. Doors open. Opportunities appear. People align with your frequency. Focus is not something you're born with, it's something you build. It's a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Start by noticing where your mind goes when it wanders. Catch it gently and bring it back to what matters. Over time, you'll realize how powerful you truly are. Your thoughts are creative tools, not random noise. The more intentionally you use them, the more powerful your reality becomes. If you think abundance, you attract opportunities. If you think gratitude, you magnetize joy. If you think fear, you paralyze your own growth. Every great dream starts in the same place, a focused mind. The mind that can hold one idea, one belief, one vision without wavering will always outperform the mind that chases 10. The world doesn't reward those who are busy, it rewards those who are clear. When your attention is clear, your path unfolds naturally. You stop forcing things. You stop comparing. You stop doubting. You begin to move with quiet confidence. Because deep down, you know where you're going. You have to learn to protect your focus the way you protect your peace. Don't give your energy to everything that asks for it. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every battle deserves your fight. Focus is the ultimate act of self-respect. The decision to value your time, your mind, your purpose. There's nothing more magnetic than someone who knows exactly what they're building. They don't get distracted by noise because they're tuned into the signal of their soul. The power of attention is not just about achieving goals. It's about who you become in the process. When you focus on growth, you evolve. When you focus on gratitude, you become lighter. When you focus on love, you attract deeper connections. Your entire life is a reflection of what you repeatedly focus on. The law of multiplication applies here. What you give attention to doesn't just add, it compounds. Every thought, every word, every choice builds upon the last. Over time, that becomes your identity. That becomes your reality. You can change your life the moment you change what you focus on. Stop looking at what's missing and start seeing what's possible. Stop replaying what went wrong and start imagining what could go right. The future is shaped by the focus of your present. The more you invest your attention in solutions, in purpose, in becoming better, the faster your outer world aligns. It's not magic, it's alignment. Your energy will always attract its mirror. If your focus is scattered, your life will feel chaotic. But if your focus is disciplined, your life will feel divine. Every morning, you get a choice to live intentionally or react emotionally. The direction of your day depends on where you place your first thought. Don't start by checking what the world wants from you. Start by asking what you want to create today. Direct your attention like a laser beam toward your goals, your peace, your evolution. When you learn to focus your mind, you don't just change your outcomes. You change your vibration. And when your vibration changes, everything you once chased begins to chase you. Your focus is your frequency. It's your personal broadcast to the universe. The clearer it is, the stronger it transmits. That's why scattered minds manifest scattered results. But when you focus, the universe hears you clearly. It starts sending you people, circumstances, and experiences that match your dominant attention. That's the hidden power most people never use. The power to choose what they give their mind to. So guard it like treasure. Treat your attention as sacred. Train it like a skill. And remember, the most beautiful transformations don't happen overnight. They happen through consistent focus over time. It's not the loudest effort that wins. It's the most sustained. What you water daily grows. What you starve fades away. You don't need to chase success. You need to focus on what creates it. You don't need to control everything. You need to control your attention. Because the one who masters focus masters life. When you begin to master your focus, something profound happens. You start living deliberately instead of accidentally. You stop being pulled in every direction by the noise of the world and begin to move with purpose, with precision, with intention. The energy that once leaked through worry, distraction, and doubt now flows towards your highest vision. You feel it? That inner alignment, that sense that everything you do has meaning. Life no longer feels random because your focus gives it direction. You start noticing how people and opportunities respond differently to you. It's as if life recognizes your clarity and says, now you're ready. And that's because clarity attracts clarity. When your mind is clear, your energy is magnetic. People are drawn to your certainty, to your grounded presence. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You radiate something that says, I know where I'm going, even if you're still on the way there. There's incredible strength in focusing on the process, not just the prize. Most people quit because they focus too much on the distance they have left to travel instead of the step in front of them. But the truth is, every great journey unfolds one focused step at a time. When you learn to pour your full attention into the now, into the small daily actions, the results will take care of themselves. You begin to find joy in the progress, not just the outcome, and that joy multiplies your energy, your resilience, your momentum. Sometimes focus means saying no, and that's hard. We live in a world that glorifies saying yes to everything, doing it all, being everywhere. But that's not power. Power lies in discernment, in knowing what deserves your time and what doesn't. Every no you give to distraction is a yes to your destiny. Every boundary you create around your energy protects your future. You cannot be focused if you are constantly accessible to everything and everyone. Protect your mind like sacred ground because that's exactly what it is. Focus also demands faith. There will be days when your efforts seem invisible, when your progress feels painfully slow. But those are the moments that define you. The real growth happens in silence, behind the scenes, when no one's watching. Every focused effort, every hour spent learning, creating, improving, they accumulate, they compound. You may not see it immediately, but life is adding up the moments you stayed committed when you could have given up. That's the magic most people miss, the quiet multiplication of consistent focus. When you focus deeply, you also start to see life differently. You realize how much beauty exists in simplicity, how much clarity comes from stillness. Distraction scatters your spirit, focus gathers it. It brings you home to yourself. You start feeling more present, more aware, more connected. Even the small moments, a conversation, a sunset, a task, begin to feel richer, fuller. Because focus doesn't just change your success, it changes your experience of living. Your mind is a garden. Whatever you focus on grows stronger roots. If you focus on fear, your garden becomes overrun with weeds. But if you focus on faith, it blossoms with abundance. Every day you are planting seeds with your attention. Ask yourself, what are you growing? Because your life today is a reflection of what you've been watering all along. Focus is the sunlight that makes your potential bloom. There's a reason most people never reach their full potential. They spread themselves too thin. They start something, stop halfway, and move on to the next thing. They chase excitement instead of mastery. But mastery requires obsession. Not in an unhealthy way, but in the sense of devotion. The world rewards those who stay long enough to go deep. The deeper your focus, the more valuable your work becomes. Depth always outshines breadth. The person who focuses on one thing for 10 years will always surpass the one who dabbles in 10 things for 1 year. You don't need to know how everything will unfold. You just need to focus on the next right move. Life reveals itself one step at a time to those who pay attention. The universe whispers direction to the focused mind because it's quiet enough to hear it. That's the hidden power of attention. It connects you to intuition. It's not just a mental skill, it's a spiritual one. When you focus, you start hearing your inner guidance more clearly. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust transforms everything. Focus also teaches you patience. We live in a culture obsessed with speed, but true success comes from endurance. The oak tree doesn't grow overnight. The masterpiece isn't painted in a day. The great lives you admire were built through unwavering focus over time. When you understand that, you stop rushing and start refining. You give your dreams the time they deserve. You realize that the journey itself is shaping you into the person capable of holding the success you're creating. As your focus deepens, so does your confidence. You stop doubting your path because you see evidence of your own growth. You recognize your power not in what you've achieved yet, but in the discipline you've developed. And that's where real confidence comes from, not from praise, but from self-respect. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you're proving to yourself that your purpose matters. That's how you build unshakable faith in your own ability. Focus also brings peace. The mind that is scattered is always anxious, always restless. But the focused mind is calm. It knows where it's headed, and it doesn't need constant validation. When you focus on what you can control, your attitude, your effort, your growth, you stop worrying about what you can't. You become centered, grounded, steady. Peace isn't the absence of chaos. It's the presence of focus in the middle of it. One of the most powerful transformations that comes from focus is the way you begin to value your time. You start realizing that time isn't just something you spend, it's something you invest. You become intentional about where every hour goes because you understand its impact on your destiny. And when you treat time as sacred, life responds with opportunities worthy of your attention. To truly focus, you must let go of the need to prove, compete, or rush. You can't multiply your life by trying to mirror someone else's path. You have to trust your own timing, your own process, your own rhythm. Focus isn't about working harder, it's about working with purpose. It's about aligning your effort with your essence. When you do that, everything begins to flow. Life starts feeling less like a struggle and more like a collaboration with something greater than yourself. The moment you stop scattering your energy across 1,000 little things, your power returns to you. It's like calling back every piece of your soul that's been lost in distraction, doubt, and overthinking. You become whole again. You move differently. You think differently. You speak with intention. And from that state you create effortlessly. Focus is not just a tool for achievement, It's the gateway to authenticity. There's a brilliance in being selective with your attention. You don't have to focus on what's loud, you focus on what's real. The world will always offer chaos, but you get to choose clarity. You can't stop the noise, but you can tune your frequency. That's how you rise above, not by fighting distractions, but by mastering your direction. Every dream, every empire, every breakthrough began with one moment of focus. Someone deciding to give their full energy to a single vision and refusing to be moved by anything else. That's the hidden power of attention. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush. It simply stays, it endures. And because it endures, it multiplies. You have within you that same power, the ability to choose what gets your energy, what shapes your reality, what defines your destiny. The life you dream of is not built from luck, it's built from focus. It's not about how much you do, but about how deeply you commit to what truly matters. Your mind is the compass that points to your future. When you learn to hold it steady, there's nothing you cannot create, nothing you cannot become. You are the painter and your focus is the brush. Every thought, every moment of attention adds color to your masterpiece. Paint deliberately, focus consciously. Because when you do, your life doesn't just grow, it multiplies beyond imagination. And as your focus sharpens, something even deeper awakens within you. A sense of quiet certainty that you are exactly where you need to be. You begin to see how every challenge was never meant to break your focus, but to refine it. Distractions no longer tempt you the way they used to, because your vision has grown stronger than your impulses. That's the real transformation, when your purpose becomes louder than your excuses. The more you practice focusing on what truly matters, the more resilient your spirit becomes. The chaos around you can scream, but you remain centered. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing validation and start radiating self-assurance. When you live with focused attention, life becomes an intimate dance between discipline and trust. Discipline keeps you grounded in consistent action, while trust reminds you that everything is unfolding in divine timing. Together, they create a powerful harmony that multiplies results without force. Focused attention doesn't mean control, it means direction. You're not trying to bend life to your will. You're aligning with its rhythm and guiding it with clarity. That's how the most powerful people move through the world. With calm conviction, not frantic effort. As you continue to focus on your growth, you'll notice how effortlessly you begin to release what no longer serves you. Relationships, habits, and environments that once drained you start falling away, not because you reject them, but because your energy has evolved. Your focus acts like a filter. It clarifies your values and sharpens your sense of what truly supports your peace. You start craving depth over distraction, meaning over noise. The superficial things that once captured your attention lose their shine, because now you see their cost. They take time, they take energy, they take life. Focus also reveals the subtle difference between movement and progress. You can be busy every day and still be going nowhere if your attention is fragmented. But 1 hour of pure, concentrated focus can be more valuable than a week of scattered effort. The quality of your attention defines the quality of your results. When you learn to give yourself fully to what you're doing, whether it's work, family, learning, or rest, you create a state of flow. Time bends for you. Creativity awakens. Inspiration finds you. Because focus is presence, and presence is power. The beauty of mastering attention is that it teaches you emotional intelligence. When you focus on your inner world, you start to recognize how your emotions move, how they rise and fall, how they guide you. You stop being controlled by them and start learning from them. You realize that fear only grows when you feed it with focus. But when you redirect that focus to courage, clarity, or faith, the fear begins to fade. Whatever emotion you focus on expands. So you learn to choose your focus wisely. You begin to see that inner mastery comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from paying attention to it with understanding. There's extraordinary power in focusing on gratitude. It multiplies your blessings effortlessly. The more you pay attention to what's good in your life, the more life gives you to be grateful for. Gratitude trains your mind to look for possibilities instead of problems, to notice abundance instead of lack. And that shift changes everything. It rewires your energy, softens your resistance, and opens doors where none seem to exist. Gratitude is the most effortless form of focus, and yet it has the most profound results. As you become more aware of the power of your attention, you begin to realize how easily the world tries to scatter it. There will always be noise, opinions, comparisons, expectations. But focus gives you the strength to rise above it. You start valuing silence more than chaos. You understand that you don't have to explain your focus to everyone. Not everyone is meant to understand it. You're not here to be understood by all. You're here to build something meaningful. And meaning doesn't come from pleasing people, it comes from honoring your truth. Sometimes, focus looks like solitude. You'll find yourself withdrawing from things that once entertained you, choosing peace over popularity, reflection over reaction. That's not isolation. That's alignment. Greatness often grows in quiet places. When you stop scattering your energy on external validation, your inner light shines brighter. That's the paradox of focus. When you give your full attention to your inner growth, your outer world starts to flourish without effort. Every time you focus on progress instead of perfection, you give yourself permission to move forward. Perfection distracts you, progress transforms you. When your focus shifts from trying to impress others to trying to improve yourself, your growth accelerates. You start measuring success not by applause, but by alignment. You stop asking, how fast can I get there? And start asking, how deeply can I grow while I'm here? That's when your journey becomes sacred. Focus also teaches resilience. The ability to hold your vision even when the path feels uncertain. There will be times when your focus wavers, when life tests your commitment, when your dreams seem distant. But those are the moments that sculpt your character. Every setback becomes an invitation to refocus, to refine your intention, to return stronger. Failure only defines you if you focus on it, otherwise it fuels you. The most successful people didn't avoid distraction. They learned how to recover from it quickly. They knew how to bring their mind back to purpose again and again, until focus became their second nature. When you commit to focusing on growth, you start noticing synchronicities. Those little signs that tell you you're on the right path. The right people appear. The right opportunities unfold. Things start aligning almost magically. But it's not magic. It's your attention aligning with intention. You're no longer fighting life, you're flowing with it. You're no longer doubting, you're trusting. Because focus gives birth to faith, and faith amplifies focus. What's even more powerful is how your energy begins to influence others. When people feel your focused presence, it awakens something in them. They start believing that it's possible too. Your energy becomes contagious, not through words, but through vibration. You become a mirror of what's possible when someone fully commits to their purpose. That's the quiet influence of focus. It doesn't shout, it inspires. It doesn't demand, it demonstrates. And then one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Not because you rushed, but because you stayed steady. Not because you had everything figured out, but because you kept your attention on what mattered. You'll see how the moments that once felt insignificant, the disciplined days, the quiet nights, the sacrifices no one saw, were the building blocks of your transformation. You'll see how your focused energy created ripples that touched places you never imagined. But even then, you won't stop focusing, because you'll know there's always more to evolve, more to learn, more to give. Focus becomes your way of life, a devotion to growth, to purpose, to presence. You realize that the destination was never the point, the power was always in the direction. Every day becomes a new opportunity to aim your attention consciously, toward love, toward peace, toward mastery. The truth is, attention is not just mental energy, it's spiritual currency. You exchange it for every experience you live. Spend it on what uplifts you. Invest it in what expands you. Don't waste it on what drains or diminishes your spirit, because the world reflects back the energy you choose to sustain. When your focus is rooted in purpose, life multiplies it 100-fold. The deeper you go into focus, the more you realize how infinite your potential really is. You start to understand that what limits you is not your ability, but your scattered attention. Once you learn to channel that attention, your potential becomes limitless. The power to transform your life isn't somewhere outside you. It's in your ability to choose where your mind lives, moment by moment. Focus is a spiritual act. It's how you tell the universe, this is what I'm ready for. And the universe responds by amplifying whatever you concentrate on. That's why your attention is sacred. It's not just about productivity, it's about creation. You are creating worlds with every thought, every intention, every moment of focus. The question is, what kind of world are you building? Because when you understand that, you stop drifting, you start directing, you stop reacting, you start creating. Your life becomes an expression of conscious focus, steady, grounded, expansive. The distractions that once seemed irresistible now feel small compared to the vision you carry within. You begin to live from purpose instead of impulse, from clarity instead of confusion. And that's where real transformation begins. When your focus becomes unwavering, your heart becomes fearless, and your life begins to multiply beyond measure. As your focus strengthens and your awareness deepens, you start realizing that attention is not something you merely direct, it's something you embody. You become what you focus on. Every thought you hold with conviction begins to shape your energy, your choices, your future. This is where real transformation happens, not in the outer hustle, but in the inner alignment. The energy you project is the sum of your attention. When your attention is pure, unwavering, and infused with purpose, you become magnetic. The world starts to respond to your vibration, not your voice. Things begin to move for you because you are finally in tune with the frequency of clarity. It's in these moments of deep focus that you start noticing how little you actually need to feel fulfilled. The distractions that once felt irresistible begin to lose their pull, because fulfillment no longer comes from external validation. It comes from internal connection. You begin to see that joy isn't something you chase. It's something that expands when you give it attention. The same goes for peace, for love, for creativity. Whatever you focus on begins to take form, begins to breathe, begins to live through you. The hidden power of attention is that it transforms invisible energy into tangible experience. You begin to understand that attention is sacred because it's the bridge between the inner world and the outer one. Every time you give your focus to something, you are breathing life into it. That's why it's essential to be conscious of where your attention goes. If you keep focusing on fear, you keep giving it life. If you keep focusing on doubt, it keeps growing roots. But when you focus on faith, on possibility, on strength, the whole universe bends to meet that energy. Focus doesn't just multiply results, it multiplies reality itself. It makes the unseen seen. There's a moment in everyone's journey where they realize that focus is freedom. When you finally stop letting the world decide where your energy goes, you reclaim your power. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You realize that the real prison was not circumstance, but scattered attention. Once you master where your mind goes, no one can control your peace again. You stop running after things, you start attracting them. You stop doubting your direction, you start walking with quiet confidence. The outer world begins to shift because the inner one has finally stabilized. And in that stillness, you'll notice something extraordinary. Time seems to slow down. When you're focused, present, and aligned, every moment feels richer, fuller, more alive. You start tasting life instead of rushing through it. You begin to appreciate the texture of silence, the rhythm of your own breath, the beauty of small victories. Focus magnifies experience. It doesn't just make you more productive, it makes you more alive. That's the gift most people miss because they're too busy being everywhere but here. Focus teaches you that simplicity is power. You no longer crave more, you crave meaning. You stop measuring your worth by how much you do and start measuring it by how deeply you live. The world will always tempt you to scatter your attention, to chase trends, to compare, to rush. But focus brings you back to what truly matters. It reminds you that depth is what leaves legacy, not noise. You begin to value quality over quantity in everything. Your time, your words, your relationships, your dreams. The more you live from focus, the more you start noticing synchronicity. Those perfectly timed moments that seem too aligned to be coincidence. They're not accidents, they're confirmations. They're signs that your attention has become powerful enough to shape reality. The energy you're putting out is echoing back in the form of aligned opportunities. That's when you begin to trust the invisible forces at play. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with intention. You realize that when your focus is clear, the universe does half the work. Focus also refines your relationship with failure. You stop seeing it as something to fear and start seeing it as a tool for clarity. Every failure teaches you where your attention drifted. Every setback shows you what needs more focus, not more frustration. When your attention stays grounded even in adversity, you rise faster, stronger, and wiser. You begin to understand that success isn't built on luck. It's built on consistency of focus through every season of life. When you live with deep focus, your energy becomes contagious. People start feeling something different in your presence. A calm certainty, a quiet power. You don't need to convince anyone of who you are or what you're capable of. Your focus speaks louder than your words. It's reflected in how you move, how you handle challenges, how you show up even when no one's watching. Focused people don't just work harder, they radiate trust in themselves. And that energy inspires others to find the same strength within. As your attention evolves, you begin to understand that the mind is not your enemy. It's your most powerful instrument. The key is to train it. Every time you bring your wandering thoughts back to your purpose, you're strengthening the muscle of mastery. You're teaching your mind that you are in control. You can choose focus over distraction, creation over consumption, vision over fear. Over time, your mind starts working for you instead of against you. That's the shift that changes everything. You also start recognizing that focus and self-worth are intertwined. The moment you decide that your attention is too valuable to waste on negativity or drama, you elevate your standard for how you live. You stop entertaining things that don't align with your peace because you know your focus is sacred. You begin to treat your attention like currency, and you invest it only where it grows. This shift in self-respect changes your energy, and that change in energy changes your reality. When your focus deepens, even your relationship with time transforms. You realize you don't need more hours in the day. You need more presence in the hours you have. You stop rushing, because rushing is a symptom of distraction. True focus is unhurried. It's steady, deliberate, precise. You learn that mastery isn't about doing things fast, it's about doing them fully. The deeper your focus, the more time seems to expand around you. That's the paradox. When you give one thing your full attention, life gives you more of everything. Focus also reveals your true priorities. It forces you to ask, what really matters to me? Because whatever you consistently focus on is what you're truly living for. It's easy to say you value growth or love or freedom, but your focus tells the truth. It exposes where your heart really is. And when you align your attention with your authentic values, life becomes simpler. Decisions become easier. Confusion fades. You stop living by default and start living by design. The deeper you go into this state of awareness, the more you understand that focus is an act of love. Love for your vision, love for your growth, love for your life. When you focus on something, you're saying, this matters enough for me to give it my presence. And presence is the purest form of devotion. It's how you nurture anything. A dream, a relationship, a purpose. Focus is how you feed the things you love until they flourish. There's a quiet beauty in watching how your focused energy begins to transform your reality in subtle ways. You start meeting people who match your frequency. You attract opportunities that align with your vision. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, not because of luck, but because focus sharpens your intuition. You notice things others overlook. You sense timing others miss. That's the reward of living attentively. Life begins to cooperate with you, because you are finally cooperating with it. And as your journey unfolds, you'll realize that focus is not about perfection or control. It's about presence. It's about showing up every day with full attention, even when things are uncertain, even when progress feels slow. Because consistency in focus builds momentum, and momentum creates miracles. The person who can stay focused in moments of doubt becomes unstoppable. Every distraction that once stole your energy now becomes fuel for your discipline. Every obstacle becomes an invitation to deepen your attention. You begin to see that focus is not something external to achieve, it's a way of being. A lifestyle of awareness, purpose, and devotion. When you live from that place, everything changes. The noise quiets. The chaos organizes itself. The right paths illuminate before you. You don't have to force anything. You simply align your focus, and life multiplies in ways you could never have imagined.